All right. I don't know why that's still in front of my face. What's up, people? How you doing? Greetings and welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. And good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Poppy, Bella, Extra. Folks on Rockfin already. All right, cool. Denver dropping some stuff about Trump's pandemic preparedness guy. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I think my mic is a little far away. All right. I think that's a little better. Dr. Parker. I mean, I wouldn't, I don't know. There's so much sleight of hand going on, guys. You know, right? I mean, it's the same. A few people withstanding. It's the same thing as the last Trump administration, where he said he could, said he would drain the swamp, and then hired the swamp, and all the swamp creatures around him just did swamp creature things, and then he pretty much signed off on the swamp creature things. And you know, I don't know that we expect anything different this time, right? A lot of the same, even though you know, RFK is out there sounding, you know, pretty darn sane. But again, maybe that's just cover for doing not so sane things. Actually, maybe I'll play real quick. Trump has approved, the Trump administration has approved a bird flu vaccine. Under the guise of lowering egg prices, so they're trying to tackle the inflation problem and the egg price problem, and then the way to do that is to authorize mRNA, excuse me, dyslexic, mRNA vaccines for the birds. Although many influenza researchers contend that vaccination can help control spread of the deadly virus, the U.S. government has long resisted allowing its use. Because of politics and trade concerns that many contend are unscientific, the USDA approval may signal a shift in policy linked to the Trump administration's worries about egg prices. Well, there you go. Jeffrey Tucker, I think this guy is generally a liberal douche, but pointing out something that's real. It's funny, the Democrats are super like on the case when Trump is in office, but when their guys are in office, they're like, "What is happening? I don't even follow politics, bro. I'm not even all No, no, no. He's great. Whatever he's doing is great. He, Biden, whoever. Um, it's funny how it works that way. By all means, hold Trump's feet to the fire and uncover all the dastardly, dishonest douchebaggery that you can possibly uncover. But keep that same energy. Keep it going for anybody who's in office. Please, 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 by all means, please. All right. Well, because I'm playing this, let's go ahead and pull up this RFK statement, which on the surface, I really like what he's saying here. It's hard for me not to feel like there's a sense of authenticity in RFK. But I don't know. At the end of this speech, though, I did wonder what he was saying here. Saying this, he's talking about criticizing, being open to listening to sides that he has criticized in the past. I'm like, well, does that mean you're going to listen to the pharmaceutical companies or the corrupted CDC officials that want to tell you different things about vaccines, or it's going to be fine this time, or this is for the good of the public this time? Remember, like, Trump authorized Operation Warp Speed, which was Department of Defense run basically operation at developing these vaccines, right? So the name brands are there: Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, whatever. But all of that had the Department of Defense behind it, which should be the scary part. What are they doing there? What were they doing there? And people have a lot of questions. They still have a lot of questions, and you should have a lot of questions. If you don't have a lot of questions, maybe you should question a little more. And maybe, people should question this RFK stance because it sounds heartfelt and super great on one level.
The world. Let me say one more thing about politicization, and this is personal. As you know, I've come through a very highly polarized confirmation process. The fog of narrative warfare has made it hard to get a sense of who I am and what I believe and what I represent. A lot of times when I read these articles characterizing me, I think to myself, I wouldn't want to work for that guy either. So since we all are here together, I have a request to make from you, my new colleagues. Let's start a relationship by letting go of any preconceptions that you may have about me. And let's start from square one. Let's establish a mutual intention to work toward what we all care about, the health of the American people. In return, I want to make a promise to all of you. It's also about preconceptions. I'll start by acknowledging that throughout my career, I've asked a lot of difficult questions, and I've come to a lot of unpopular conclusions. I'm going to keep asking those kind of questions. What I promise to you now is to hold my preconceived answers lightly. I promise to be willing to be wrong. I promise to listen to all the stakeholders, all the parties to the conversation, including the ones, especially the ones with whom I've disagreed in the past. I promise to keep an open mind toward every possibility and every contingency. I hope you will all join me in this commitment because the health of our people is a lot more important than being right or being vindicated. We can start right now.
What does that mean? I mean, I have questions about this last part. Yeah, he's making a commitment to help. That's great. Sounds good. Sounds awesome. Mutual intention to work towards what all care about. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself. Um, the problem is that he is right. He's right. His past work in his books and what he called out surrounding Fauci and the NIH and all that stuff. He was absolutely on the money. So when you're right, you have to fight. You have to fight the people that are just dead wrong, and it's nice sounding and all, but I feel like that's a foundation for waffling. You know, he's there because he took a stance on health and is calling out the, the worst of the worst. And that's exactly what he should do. And he should go in swinging hard and not like, well, I'm open to all sides and whatever they have to say, the other people that are corrupt and, don't care about your health. I'm willing to listen. As Trump is, approving, well, it was already in line during the Biden administration. So the Biden administration was pushing it or gave it tacit approval. And the Trump administration is just going forward with what the Biden administration did, which the Biden administration was going forward with the Trump administration did. Again, remain skeptical. So, at first I really liked this speech, and then a little nagging question went off in my head about what is he actually saying? On the whole, I'm still a fan. But I remain, I reserve the right to remain skeptical about the ultimate. A lot of people think that the COVID situation was an attempt to derail Trump or to get him out of office, but he approved Operation Warp Speed, and yes, as Denver pointed out in the Rockfin chat, it was something that they gave him. Or are you talking about this administration? Yes. Day after Trump took office, Moderna got $100 billion for bird flu or something. Yes. Anyways, Trump approved all the stuff that around COVID. Like I said, Operation Warp Speed, CARES Act, all this stuff. So if they were out to get him, he didn't resist much. If this is a big evil plot to, trip him up, he seemed totally complicit in the plot to trip himself up. Anyways. This is good post about and I stand correct. I forgot that the Clinton administration was about, they mostly gutting a lot of social welfare. We were talking about gutting the military, but he did close some bases, and he did downsize the federal workforce, et cetera, et cetera. So Elon Musk is saying what Doge is doing is similar to Clinton-Gore Dem policies of the 1990s. The current Dem party has just gotten so crazy far left that it isn't recognizable anymore. I beg to differ. In the 1990s, President Bill Clinton and Vice President Al Gore took on the challenge that few politicians dared to confront, cutting the size of the federal government. But this is a good analysis. Clinton did the work of the Heritage Foundation. Exactly. He did the things that the Republicans... He was just, again, carrying on the policies of Reagan, who was all about cutting the welfare and cutting social services and cutting support for unions. And, Reagan was totally, out for stomping out unions. And then what happened? The next president after him, Bill Clinton, a Democrat, approved NAFTA, which again, further gutted the American workforce. So, he was just doing right. Reagan was doing right wing stuff, and Bill Clinton was like, "I got you. I can. Don't worry, Reggie. I got you." Clinton did the work of the Heritage Foundation. He gutted critical safety nets like childcare, public housing, and the FDA, and was the first to privatize prisons. A disaster. He's hated nationwide for the destruction of the middle class. This isn't a flex; it's a warning. Yeah. Yep. And the beginning of the end of, I don't know if he was the beginning of the end of the Democratic Party. Sure. We'll call it, the actual line drawn where the Democratic Party stopped being about social welfare and caring. It didn't take long. It didn't take long for the FDR socialist era to be completely, to start dismantling it, hand over fist. It didn't take long. It took, till Ronald Reagan. So what was that? LBJ, had the what was it called? I can't remember now, but where he increased social welfare. I don't know why I'm totally blanking on this. His policies that came, that pushed, more socialism, right? Increased welfare and increased, taking care of people and expanding this social safety net. That's what LBJ did. And he was maybe Jimmy Carter might have just held it aloft a little longer, but it really only took, 14 years before Reagan was in office. A couple of presidents later, Reagan was already at, slashing and cutting and burning down the social safety net. And Bill Clinton was like, I can do some of that too. And then Bush was like, yep, we got you. And then Obama was like, sure thing. We'll do some more. And then, on and on. Somebody says the Clintons were Republicans. Of course they were. They were loudly right wing. They were loudly and proudly right wing, a right wing Democrat administration. There was nothing lefty really about him. And we just kept on going with that. Although Obama, at least his messaging was progressive, but when he got into office, he said out loud in front of people on a microphone, he said, my policies are not unlike that of a middle of the road Republican like Ronald Reagan. He said his policies were much like Ronald Reagan. Meaning, like, I'm not here to scare anybody with my crazy communism talk. I'm like Ronald Reagan. Okay, great. Glad we voted for you. Glad we voted for Reagan again. When we thought we were voting for a Democrat, glad we put Reagan back in office. That's good. That's really awesome. And he did about as much damage as any other president, Obama. They just keep stripping away the social safety net, stripping away your rights, stripping away, adding to the wealth disparity, wealth gap, whatever you want to call it. They just keep on doing that. And it doesn't matter whether it's Democrat or Republican. It'd be really nice if people could recognize this. People, on the whole, but people still are like super sleepwalking through life right now. They're sleepwalking into a huge trap that's being laid for them. and just thumping the chest and getting all righteous about how bad Trump is. Again, yes, be righteous, be loud, thump the chest about how bad Trump is. What are you going to do about it? Is what they're saying to you. What this whole thing is the the elites and the people in charge are just saying, what are you going to do about it? Because we're going to keep going. If you guys just sit around and go like, that's not great. Look at that. Oh my God. It's all falling apart. What do we do? I don't know. Can we shop our way out of it? Can we vote our way out of it? Or can we? I don't know. They're just like, what? And the elites are literally just like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? They're, it sucks. They're challenging you to do something about it, or saying they're going to keep on going if you don't actually rise to the challenge. Jimmy Dore has something to add to this. The U.S. has the highest income inequality of any wealthy country, and Trump is currently wrecking the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board, one of the key tools to help workers gain their fair share of the profits they generate. I wish Democrats would be screaming louder about this with a unified voice instead of defending corrupt CIA fronts like USAID and the NED. This would be a winning issue, but all I see and hear is them fighting for the wrong things. And this is true and correct. This is happening. Trump has paralyzed agency that safeguards worker rights, labor experts and advocates say. Yeah, the time to be worried about this was about a year ago. And now it's, be worried about, say something, stand up, be loud, be proud. But Trump is already in office. It shouldn't be, but it should have been about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, when Biden was heading for re-election and there was nobody could challenge him, and they said so. That would have been the time to get in front of the White House or the City Hall or the courthouse. But now you're in front of the City House and the courthouse when it's way too late. You guys gotta come on, man, come on. All right, it's way too late in the game. Someone posted this in the Telegram. Telegram is a place where Black Bear News people can chat all day long if they so choose. If you guys want to continue this chat over there, you can do it. t.me/Black Bear News chat. It's in the description box, by the way. I'm just showing this just for the title, because why oligarchs loved Hitler? Well, it's obvious. They go on to explain why, but why is because what is fascism but corporate control of the state? So if fascism allows for the corporations to seize total control, well then, of course they would like Hitler. I don't even need to read this. I mean, you can read it if you want. It's out there. I'm not going to read it just in the interest of time because I want to cover other things. Actually, two of the stories that I had in the headline or the title of the show yesterday, I missed both of those stories completely. So I'm going to try and cover them today before I run out of time. Elon Musk and Doge have discovered that there are 394 million Social Security recipients in the U.S., despite the country having only 334 million citizens. That's interesting. What? A discrepancy of more than 60 million. Well, but 334 million citizens are not receiving Social Security. They might have Social Security cards. Are they actually receiving Social Security? When they say recipients, Not all 334 million. So the discrepancy is way more than 60 million, by the way. I don't know if they figured that out on the math side, um but if there's 394 million social security number holders, yeah, well, is this true and correct? Are they uncovering fraud? Are they going to do something about it? Well, hopefully, I don't know. Is it going to be at the expense of social security period in general? That wouldn't be good. Are they going to privatize social security? Are they going to dismantle social security? Are they going to mess with social security? Are they going to digitize social security? Are they going to blockchain social security? I don't know. What are they going to do? Yeah, Brad spells it out. 71 million people, 71.6 million people received social security benefits. He says your numbers are not accurate, and you know it. I don't know. We'll see what comes of this. I'm not, obviously there's a lot of skepticism around the Doge thing, and rightly so. Keep looking at this, and really with a watchful eye. I mean, we're just seeing like reports and numbers and sensationalism at the moment. What's the what's the answer to this is the question. What do they propose is the answer? Let's keep going. Okay, so there's a lot of talk about Germany past and present, and the erosion of free speech, which is happening all over the place. It's obviously happening here, although we have a little more of a slightly more protection than other places, or it seems like less willingness to give away this right or to stand up and fight for this right. And even though I try to keep my shows and my speech calm, cool, and collected, I completely support and agree with the right for somebody to just say absolutely disgusting, terrible stuff if they want to, and in whatever manner or form that they want to, because that's called free speech. So fight for the right for people to be vulgar, weird, strange. It's not about the feels. And if somebody does something, says something that's, directly, illegal, then there are laws for that. So just prosecute them under the current laws that stand as they stand, and let's end the censorship. Let's see. Okay, watch. Germany begins Gestapo-style raids on citizens posting offensive memes. I know this is Alex Jones. We're not going to watch the whole thing.
It's 6:01 on a Tuesday
We're
morning.
just watching for the 60 minutes part.
And we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany. Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime. The crime, posting a racist cartoon online.
So that sounds
At
bad,
the exact
right?
same time.
So a lot of people would go, "What? He's racist? Yeah, hell yeah, take that guy down. We don't like racism. We don't do that here." Sure, yeah, it's bad and all that stuff. But what racism are they talking about? They're talking about he said something critical of Israel, making it anti-Semitic, making it racist. That's the kind of racism he's talking about. they're talking about. Right. So, it hits a little different when you're, criticizing somebody for their actions and they just happen to be a certain nationality or skin color or whatever it is. And criticizing somebody for their actions and what they're doing, especially if they have power, is certainly never racist if it's not based in racism, but whatever. But that's the thing, is you extend these hate speech things to anything that, makes people feel uncomfortable, makes the state uncomfortable, or makes leaders uncomfortable, or makes people in charge uncomfortable, or makes United Health uncomfortable, or makes, whoever, right? The Border Patrol uncomfortable. It makes, whoever. You can extend these, hate speech kind of criteria to almost anything and anybody. So you don't want to support that. You think you're supporting the right thing, but you're supporting the wrong. That's why free speech is protected. You don't want to support that, because whenever you support the suppression of free speech, your speech is next. Anything you have to say of consequence, like, I don't like this thing, bam, you're down. Now you're the hateful person. Now you're in jail. Now you're in the back of the van. That's how it works. That's how it works. Sorry to tell you that, but or sorry if that's makes you feel uncomfortable, but that's really how it works. So you got to be a little less sensitive when it comes to, the right, what human rights are. you have to be a little less, sensitive about certain things, and more, and more sensitive to others. It's called discernment. We all should have it. Try to develop it. It's an ongoing thing. We all are trying to get better. It's, like that. Okay. So they're arresting people for memes in Germany. There are many crazy parts of this 60-minute segment on German hate speech prosecutions, but the most annoying part is the 60 Minutes correspondent Sharon Alfonsi earnestly using the term online violence without bursting into laughter. Right. So violence. Oh my God, the words are violent.
So it sounds like you're saying it's okay to criticize a politician's policy, but not to say, I think you're a jerk and an idiot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Comments like "you're a son of a bitch," excuse me for using, but these words has nothing to do
Oh
with
no! Oh my God! He called
discussion
me a son of a
or
bitch.
a contribution
Oh, no.
to a discussion.
Oh my God!
Civility is more than a commandment. For Germans, rules are gospel. Even on a quiet street, the crosswalk signal is adhered to with the devotion of a monk. But some here worry by policing the internet, Germany is backsliding. The criticism that, this feels like the surveillance that Germany conducted 80 years ago. How do you respond to that?
There is no surveillance.
Josephine Ballon is a CEO of Hate Aid, a Berlin-based human rights organization that supports victims of online violence. In the United States, a lot of people look at this and say, this is restricting free speech. It's a threat to democracy.
Free speech needs boundaries.
Free speech needs boundaries, right? And those boundaries can be whatever they want them to be, right? So there's a lot of discussion and debate these days around free speech. Who should have it, or why you should have it, or should you not have totally free speech? Also, recently, Vance was in Germany saying prosecutors raiding citizens' homes over insults online is Orwellian, and everyone in Europe and the US must reject this lunacy. He's correct. Is he is he really going to fight for your rights to party and say whatever you want? Remain skeptical, my friends. But he adds, criminalizing speech is going to put a real strain on Europe-US relations. All right, well, those are, fair enough. That's absolutely true. Somebody should be out there at least speaking about free speech. So things that people should be supporting. The thing that sucks though is that just because Vance is saying it, people will hate on it just because it's Vance that's saying it, even though it's absolutely something that, any logical, sane human being would totally support. But like, for some reason, some people have lost the ability to actually think anything when it comes to like Trump or Vance or anything on, or RFK or anybody, right? Like, whatever no, no, I'm not listening. It's just immediate rejection, even if it's totally like logical and makes sense. Anyways, utterly bizarre assertion from Margaret Brennan. She claims that the Nazi Holocaust occurred because free speech was weaponized. Oh, really? Okay. I think we've heard this before. We've heard this argument before that free speech has to be curtailed because, well, we're letting these guys say things and they're saying things and influencing people, right? It was kind of the argument behind censorship during the first presidential Trump, the presidential run, that they were saying that like, because they really tried to run this one too, like because people were allowed to talk on the internet, they were being influenced by and it really left out a lot of information and a lot of context, because maybe people were agreeing with the policies and they were trying to make it all about racism and hate, Nazi, hate. They just hate and they hate and they, but people were actually, following Trump or Bernie Sanders because they tried to make Bernie Sanders a racist too. They were following them for what they were saying on their policies. Like they were listening beyond the filter of, MSNBC or CNN or the AP News telling you what to think about them, right? That's how a lot of people get their news, is that they don't actually go listen to the person speak. They don't actually, oh, what's happening? Oh, let me listen. No, because they've been told like, well, you can't listen to them at all. You can't even look at them. If you look at them, your eyes will burn out of your skull, right? You can't even take in the information enough to make a decision about what they're saying based on your own cognitive abilities. You have to filter it through like, oh, I read an article where they said he was totally Hitler. And I was like, man, that's bad. And then you form your opinions based on like this filtered information. And that's bad. That's really bad. You should actually go to the source and find out what, when you read an article, first thing you should do is put the article to the side and go, did he really say that? Or is this really true? Can I find the corroboration somewhere else? Can I find the actual event that happened? Can I find the actual speech that happened? Can I find the actual, right? Kind of like Trump incited violence on January 6th. He did not. If you actually listen to his words, there was nothing insightful about it. But you were told to think that by the media was telling, particular group of people, this is what you have to think about this, without actually going and listening to what he was saying and going and maybe making a decision based on like, well, did he actually say go burn down did he actually say go take over the government? He didn't actually say that. He didn't say that at all. So like, if you were actually going to the source and listening to his words, you might be, on the fence, or maybe you did think he is, I don't know, think whatever you want. But like, going to the source is the way to actually form an opinion. But most people don't form opinions that way. They just listen to NPR or CNN or something, and then they get this hateful rhetoric that day. Oh my God, I am so scared. I didn't listen to the speech where he said, yeah, well, go march down to the Capitol and make your voices heard, right? Like, he didn't say like, go break the windows out. He didn't say that. He didn't go like, do an insurrection, do a coup. They wasn't saying that. Anyways, whatever. And all the, the fight like hell rhetoric. Well, how many Democrats you can see that there's 300, 300,000 videos out there of Democrats going, we got to fight like hell, fight these people, fight them, fight the power, go get them, go get in the streets, fight them. Exactly what Trump was saying. Fight for your rights, fight for your right to say what you want, fight for what you think is correct. So it's not inciting violence when the Democrats do it, but it is when Trump does it. Again, hypocrisy is not the way to live your life. Anyways, all right. Free speech is being weaponized. My God. Here, let's listen.
Well, he was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has...
I think free speech is being weaponized right now to conduct a genocide. Anybody care to address that on this news program? Okay.
Far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship was specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi Germany. They were a sole and only party that governed that country. So that's not an accurate reflection of history.
Well,
all right. And what he's saying is absolutely true, right? It's like free speech wasn't weaponized in Germany. It was free speech was done away with, right? Free speech was no longer. That's where it goes downhill. And that's the 3-card Monty that they're trying. The free speech was weaponized. We can't have it because if you have free speech, you'll get Hitler. No, that's the opposite of what you get. If you censor people and tell them they can't say anything and restrict their right to protest or say anything or be oppositional in any way, shape, or form, then you get Nazi Germany. But man, people listen to this and they just eat it up. They're like, that tastes good. That was good. I don't know what she said there, but I really like that because of weaponizing free speech. We have to have boundaries. No, no. But as it is, I mean, even he's saying the correct thing about free speech, but like Trump saying that people that are going to be deported for anti-Semitism, that's pretty freaking frightening. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants for people to be, I mean, Trump saying that he was going to deport people for anti-Semitism is the same as German police showing up at people's houses and arresting them for memes. That's the same thing. So you have Vance saying, well, this is very troubling. You say Rubio saying, no, that's not what it is. But then Trump actually, not too long ago said, we're going to deport people for anti-Semitism. That's the same as going to people's houses and locking them. So which one is it? Inquiring minds want to know. This is frightening. The whole Cop City story that's taking place in Atlanta isn't just taking place in Atlanta. It's taking place all over the country. And you have to wonder where all of this is going. There's over 80 of these projects all over the country that have been in construction since 2020. Why aren't we all asking what for? Well, yeah. What for? What's it all for? Well, she goes on to say, just a thought. A major reason that nightmares like Cop Cities are able to grow without pushback from the general public is because the general public is effing incapable of researching readily available information at the palm of their hands. They aren't curious. They aren't concerned. They don't give AF. Stop asking me for information you can find in 2 seconds. You are not without resources. You are a grown adult who needs to educate themselves. And if you don't, we will pay dearly. Somebody says, let's not blame the brainwash. No, I blame the brain. No. Stop with that. You know, you can feel sorry for people that aren't curious or that are operating with limited information. You can feel sorry for them, and you can try and help them, and you can try and, but I mean, at some point, you're going to face the consequences for being uncurious and limiting your access to information. And, it's unfortunate, but, those consequences happen to people. Did anybody see Sabine's latest video about somebody, like a particle physicist emailing her and saying, don't blow the cover on particle physicists being completely, a useless occupation because we need to feed our families. And she's like, well, if you're just, lying to people about the importance of what it is you're studying, and you're just running a game, and you're grifting, you're doing an academic grift, and you're worried about protecting your position so you can continue lying to people about what it is that you're doing or what it is that's happening in your academic world, then so sorry, not sorry. Like, don't, whatever. Excuse me. Everybody has blind spots, by the way. I do too. So, you just do your best, right? Do your best not to, don't intentionally hide from information because it, because it makes you feel better, or, might make you uncomfortable. Try not to do that. Because the whole trying to feel comfortable thing is a cul-de-sac as well. Well, what are all these cop cities for? And a lot of them actually have ties to a certain country. You know that, right? I don't know. Maybe it's for when they, they feel like there's a need to really get the crackdown coming on people, right? Yeah. Maybe. National Weather Service is under stress from the lack of funding. I don't, is the National Weather Service, I don't know, like, I think they're pretty important. Maybe there's redundancies. I don't know, but like, is the National Weather Service like laundering money or putting money where it shouldn't go? It'd be really nice if they could do this in a way that wasn't so heavy-handed, because I am kind of for it, but like, just the sweeping, funding freezes, I feel like is way more harmful than it's helpful, right? I mean, seeing people that have been secretly being funded by USAID start crying and wailing, news organizations and whatnot, and maybe, not so great NGOs overseas wailing about like lack of, USAID money. I mean, that's actually, somewhat satisfying. Politico not being able to pay its staff. It's funny. But I think that there is a better way to do this. Shared with me by an NWS meteorologist. NWS is potentially in trouble. We are struggling to get our public safety exemption approved from higher ups in the government. Without the exemption, we could face steep cuts. Well, so they haven't had cuts yet. For anyone who cares about the NWS, I'd implore you to write to your congressman, congresswoman, and tell them that we are public safety. Meteorologists at the U.S. Forest Service have their exemption, but for now, okay, well, that's good. At the U.S. Forest Service, they have an exemption. For now, NWS is not seen as a public safety by someone who is crucial in this. Yeah, and I hope that they get that exemption. I don't see why this, why they would be. Salt Lake has a 66.6% chance of white lines in the skies. Speaking of weather in the skies, I have something for you. It's right here. It's the next story. Ha, ha, ha. How did that line up? Oh, by the way, if you like the show and you you want to hang out at the show and you want to chat in the show and you want to see the show come to you for free, Monday through Friday for free. And you want to support the show because you want to see the show continue to keep on coming to you for free, Monday through Friday. Then there are lots of ways to do it in the description box of any of the channels that you're watching on. Rockfin, Rumble, YouTube all have the links. All the usual suspects are there. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Coffees, Ko-Fi, Patreon, etc. Many of you support the show already. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. Oh, let's see this. Okay, so this is interesting. Yes, this is cloud seeding. But it's interesting because there's, tubes and switches, and it seems pretty simple to put something out there to increase the rain. This is in the UAE, I think.
Let's see some class. Look at this. So I flip this to L2, and then I bring this to 1, and fire. Now look at that. 4, 5, fire. 6, 8, fire. 9, fire. Okay, vertical. Let's see some class. Look at this.
Interesting, right?
So I flipped it.
So there are planes flying around up there, putting things into the skies to do things. Yes, I know this is in the UAE, but I don't know. Not unheard of event. It's not cuckoo. And some people spend a while, time documenting this and looking at this, and again, when you're if you're curious or if you have questions about something, the best thing to do is go to the source of the thing that you're questioning, right? Instead of getting it through a filter of, and I feel like, especially with what people are seeing in the skies, I feel like, people are getting their information about it or their thoughts about it through a filter of what's happening instead of just, observing or, having questions, looking into it, being curious. Malcolm Young says, what's the mystery? Cloud creation and deflection are known sciences, of course. But some people really go really hard in telling you that there's nothing going on. They would never do that. I mean, they go hard. They go real hard. I don't know why, but, it's enjoyable, I guess. Here's an interesting story. Y'all heard about the Elon Musk honey trap thing that's happening? Potassium bromate Is he a bro or is he a mate? No, he's both. He's a bro mate. Anyways. Elon Musk. There's an interesting story out about Elon Musk. His current baby mama had just had a baby, and people are looking into who this person is, and there's actually been somebody has tracked possible consequences of his relationship with Ashley St. Clair. WikiLeaks exposes the mother of Elon Musk's new child, Ashley St. Clair, as being managed by PR strategist Brian Glicklick, who previously received $598,000 from an Israeli security firm. Fake conservative insurrection Barbie is having a meltdown over Ashley St. Clair being exposed as a possible Mossad asset. Insurrection Barbie is not allowed to criticize Israel. Anyways, hold on. There's James Lee does a little breakdown of this, and also Nico House did an interesting breakdown of this. Hold on one second. Should we go Nico? Nico? Hello? Where is he? Is that right? Oh, no. That's not it. There we go. The timing of Ashley St. Clair getting pregnant with Elon's baby, combined with Elon's political ambitions and her PR agent's strange connection to Israel, makes it look like Elon got Winnie the Pooh'd by a Zionist honeypot, which definitely would explain some things, if true. Let's listen.
Y'all, was Elon Musk honeypotted by Israel with this whole Ashley St. Clair situation? I know it might sound crazy, but follow me here. Now, Ashley, who's a conservative influencer, shocked the world when she announced that she has had Elon Musk's baby. And allegedly, this baby is 5 months old, more or less. Now, Elon Musk having a kid out of wedlock isn't really all that surprising. The man got 13 kids, got like 15 baby mamas. This isn't actually all that weird for him. I mean, he's basically the Dwight Howard of the tech industry. But it is weird for him to be parading his child around recently in the White House, in meetings with international leaders, and then pretending like his 5-month-old child doesn't exist. Now, Ashley claimed that Elon said he wanted to keep the baby a secret out of protection. He wanted to protect everybody involved. But once again, how does that make sense after you've been parading one of your children around all over the media recently? But more than that, let's talk about the weird timing of this 5-month-old baby. Interestingly enough, the age of this child would mean that he was conceived within a couple of months after October 7th. And Ashley herself is actually represented by a PR strategist that has connections and has been paid by an Israeli security company. Now, in a vacuum, that might not seem so strange, but it also happens to line up with when Elon took that meeting with Bibi Netanyahu, when he visited Israel, when he did that little conference with Benjamin Shapiro, and basically threw all of his free speech principles out the window to censor whoever on behalf of Zionists. And throughout this last year, little did we know, he had political ambitions. And this particular PR agent happens to have represented several of Trump's allies in the past. Now, even though this baby was born 5 months ago, somehow, just recently, just this last weekend, the tabloid somehow managed to get a hold of the truth and decided to release it after the results of the campaign. Now, I wonder what would have happened if this information came out while Trump was running for office, while Elon was campaigning on behalf of Trump, and how that conservative base would have received the news that yet another baby was being born out of wedlock by Elon Musk while he was in an active relationship with the actual director of Neuralink, which is a whole different conversation. Would it have killed the Trump campaign? Probably not. But would it have severely hurt Elon's chances of being part of the campaign and eventually being part of the administration and having the control over the administration, at least seemingly, that he has at this moment. I think an argument can be made that Trump would have to back away from him a little bit if negative news came out about him in the middle of what they thought was going to be a close campaign. And also, let's be clear about something. Israel's not above blackmailing political figures, businessmen, whoever they need to at whatever point they need to get the outcome that they want. And if you're going to be in charge of the most popular social media company in the world, did you think that you were going to be excluded from that list of blackmailees? This is the same Israel who Epstein was working on behalf of. This is the same Israel who Ghislaine Maxwell and her father were working on behalf of. This is the same Israel who, with a phone call, could get you hired or fired in a moment's notice. So I would absolutely not rule out the possibility that Elon Musk was honeypotted. And that's why he wanted to keep this quiet. But who knows, maybe Elon Musk is the exclusion to the rule and he's the only politician in damn near all of Washington to not be blackmailed and controlled by Israel. Maybe he's an exclusion to the rule. Right.
All right. A couple more things. And, look at this. Trump administration has released a shipment of 1,800 MK-84 2,000-pound bombs, which have arrived in Israel. We should not arm countries that kill civilians or children. Ish. Oh. Yeah. I guess that's what that buys. Total and complete cooperation. Okay, we're going to jump to Rockfin for 10 minutes, maybe. Okay, guys? End of the show. We'll do the end of the show on Rockfin and Rumble. Thanks for hanging out on YouTube. And you guys can all just jump over there and we'll do the rest over there. If you're on Rockfin, just hang out. I'm just going to end the stream real quick. So many interesting things going on. What do you guys think about Sabine? Do you think she is an honest player? I wonder about her. I do like her videos though. She seems God, for crying out loud, YouTube. Do you have to do this? Freaking YouTube. She seems earnest and altruistic and all that. Yeah, clowns. You never know when YouTube's just going to make me have to sign in to YouTube. Like I'm not on YouTube every single day. Is it you? Yeah, clown.